Erica Campbell is a modern-day treasure. I've interviewed her several times in my career as a journalist, and I truly love, respect, and admire her. Before COVID shook our very lives, I got the chance to sit down with her at her LA home for a candid conversation about dating, belief, growing in faith, and more. It blessed me tremendously to talk to her, and now, especially with all we're experiencing, I think this conversation will be a blessing for you too. Here's Give You the Game with my sis, Erica Campbell. Hey everybody, it's Gia Peppers here, and I'm in Los Angeles, so I had to pull up on my big sis, Erica Campbell. Hello!
Hi. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I've been obsessed with her for years, but I'm so excited because this is obviously such an incredible time for you. Like, literally, you have a book, you have your show, Sunday Best, you are on your own radio show every single day, you're raising a beautiful family, and I've always just really admired you. Like, you are just one of the most incredible people I have been able to meet in this industry. And so I'm just so proud of you. And I just always got to give you your flowers when I see you, because I know it's not easy, but you do it with so much grace and love. And I respect you. And I love you, so I had to pull up on my sis.
I love it. Listen, well, I receive all of that love, and I thank you for it, because it's so funny. We do say more about people when they're gone than when they're here.
Yes.
So I appreciate all the love. Okay. I thank you so much.
Yes. So I'm starting a new YouTube and IGTV series called Give You the Game with Gia Peppers. And I respect so many people in this game, but we don't really get to talk to you,
right.
Just on some chill girl life too.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you about girl things.
Let's go.
Yeah, because we never get to talk about it. Like, we'll talk about the official things too, but the girl things I really love to talk about, especially because you know everything. You know a lot of things. You know a lot of things.
I've been through some stuff.
Okay, you've been through some things.
Yeah, and came through victorious.
Okay.
So.
And just in case y'all don't know, let me just read for you what Erica Campbell is. A first lady, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a singer, an author, soon to be New York Times bestselling, host on television, radio, and has her own hairline, just to name a few. Did I miss anything?
No, I think we got it.
I think that's about it. Okay, so as a person who aspires to have many things moving one day, how do you keep this all together? How do you do this?
It's what I prayed for. And I never walked through a door that God didn't open for me. And so there was a lot of years where I just had to be patient. You know, those years when you know you're great, but greatness isn't coming to you. And so you get in the middle of questioning your own greatness, because life takes time, and even time needs time, and some of us don't respect or appreciate time. So we try to rush. Right. And you have the information, and without that patience, you'll get in business deals you're not supposed to, relationships, friendships, circles, just because you want to rush it. I feel it now. And so I think learning patience for people in general is a big lesson. And for me, before I was doing anything, I was always saying, Lord, I'll walk through whatever door you open for me. Yes. And, of course, there were no doors. But while I was saying that, he was preparing me. You know what I mean? So when you've been saying something over and over, and when it hits you in your face, you go, well, I said I wanted it. I said I wanted it. So I couldn't be afraid that the fact that we started a church, launched my solo record, and the radio show, all that stuff was just all, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I had to do it because I said, okay, Lord, you prepared me. Yes. Now walk me through those doors.
Walking into new opportunities takes faith, courage, conviction, and trust. Trust that God made you exactly for this moment and that you are on the right path. Erica is a walking example of all of that, and she preached about it on a recent visit to the Sister Circle. Check it out.
When you dream big, you sound crazy to people. Oh, I'm going to do this, yes. And they go, ain't nobody ever did that before. I know, because I'm supposed to be the first. They may not understand it. And so you need that affirmation spiritually. And then you need that self-affirmation. Like, no, I know what I'm doing. This is going to change the world. This is going to bless people. I'm supposed to do this, even though nobody gets it.
One of the things I've been telling myself lately is, do not question what God gives you. If this is what God is having for me, then I need to find a way to move through it. Yeah. And so how do you not question the blessings? Because a lot of the times we'll get them right, and it's like, okay, this might, how imposter syndrome happens.
Yes.
And you just get in those spaces. How do you learn not to question that?
Oh, well, I mean, that happened to me many times.
Yeah.
Many times it was the right door and the wrong door. And the way you know the difference is when you are spending time with the Father. When you are spending time and you recognize his voice, and you know, the scripture says, My sheep know my voice, and a stranger they will not follow. Well, if you don't know the voice, then you'll spend a lot of time going, I wonder, is this right? I'm not sure. And even when you know the voice, that's the fact. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I always talk about I was a chronic dater. So I was engaged twice. And the second one, I really thought it was it because he was a church guy, saved, in church, all of that, cute, handsome, good job, loved family, big family. And it was not the one. It wasn't it. But I had already had the dress, the church, the florist. My sisters had already given, and my girlfriends had already given me their money for their dresses. And I was like, Lord, I know this is a little late, but is this you? I heard nothing.
So how did this happen? So I got to ask
You
now. I gotta know. Okay, so how old were you when this happened?
I was 21.
21. Woo, he was a baby.
And that was the second engagement.
Yes.
And
I live. No, I live for you. I'm trying to get there. Okay. But no. So 21.
21.
You were.
This guy was coming from another state.
Okay.
Coming to LA all the time because his aunt lived here and we were I loved her. I adored her. And so we would, he became really cool with everybody. We started dating, blah, blah, blah. And, he was a really romantic guy.
Yeah,
so it's really
dress shirt.
Yeah. Oh, you're real romantic. And in church, he gonna trick you every time. You know what I mean?
I got to watch it.
Why wouldn't God want me to have this?
Right.
Right. But there were signs and there were things like, oh, it's okay. We can get through this. But the one thing that could not be denied was he wanted me to only sing in his dad's church.
Oh. Like he was like, so you'll be the choir.
You can sing in my dad's church. That was the exact. I was like, well, I was singing when I met you, and I knew my dreams were bigger. That partnered with my uncle, who I love. My uncle Charles, who was my pastor. He never said don't. He said, why are you in a rush? He said, what's the rush? You a young, beautiful girl. What's the rush? Now, first I was like, you just want me to stay here. You don't want me to move out of my life. We go through
I want to be ready now.
I'm ready now. Right. And he said, just wait. He said, I'm not saying don't do it. Now I'm rocking the ring, planning the date is set. Family members planning their vacation to come to LA.
Yeah.
And I started asking the Lord, and I fell in love with my favorite scripture, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. But all your ways acknowledge him and he shall direct that path. Yeah. So I quoted that scripture, went out of town to visit him one last time, and I knew in my heart that I had to call it off.
Right.
And so I did. And my mom told me you can live anything down. So just come back. Cause I was like, I'm going to go stay with Aunt Barbara in New York for a little while. I was like, embarrassed. Cause everybody's like, oh, Erica's wedding. And then Erica's wedding didn't happen. I was like, okay, just come back. Some things work, some things don't. And I'm kind of tomboyish in that way. I don't believe in crying too long. So while I was hurt and embarrassed and trying to figure out why I didn't know sooner, my desire to be right was bigger than my ego. My desire to do God's will was bigger than what are people going to, it was bigger than that. Yes. Like, I don't want to please them and displease you, get in the wrong, place because I'm embarrassment, because embarrassment wears off.
Yes.
And it did. And I, met my husband shortly thereafter. Right.
And then now y'all this beautiful life. Okay, this is the life.
Erica married Grammy-Award winning producer and record exec Warren Campbell in 2001. But how did their love story begin? Listen as Erica shares her story of love, dating, and marriage.
So how long did it take for you guys to meet? Like, it was like a...
Things overlapped. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna hold you. And
so I was breaking up with one, and then I was on the road and happened to meet Warren, and so we were broke up technically.
Right. I mean,
but it was still like, how you doing? The phone calls.
Right.
The little trail off.
Yes. You were letting them down and then
I was
start
like, okay,
up.
Right. So,
technically, you wasn't assumed to be with anybody. So you're not wrong. I don't see the wrongness in it.
Right. But when I met him, I was like, I'm not trying to fall in love.
Yes.
Let's just be friends. And that was consistent for a while with us. Like, because he had just come out of, a crazy relationship. Well, he doesn't call it a relationship.
But a crazy situation. Among me.
This was before y'all was saying situationship.
Look, we gonna break that down. That's not a thing.
That's not it. But okay.
And I'm just old school, right? So like when people would be like, yeah, you had a situationship, which I'm not gonna lie, I've been in a situationship. But once I realized I was just giving so much energy to something that had no like definite meaning, no definite plan, no definite purpose, I was like, what am I here for? Yeah. And so situationships don't work for me.
They didn't work for me.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just can't. When you know, you know. And so,
but I was always honest with myself in
right.
my situationships. I always knew he ain't said nothing, so there's nothing solidified. I don't care how many times he calls me. I don't care how many times we go out.
Yes.
I don't care if we've been together. I don't care about any of that. I know what it is. And so I kind of prepare my heart for the disconnect, which when it's a situationship that usually happens.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
Ends up.
Right. It's just
know?
like, and there's a miscommunication.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it was embarrassment. Sometimes he walked up with a fiance and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm sure that we're nothing now. You know what I mean?
Thank you for finally letting me know.
Right. But I'm G'd up. I walked up and I was like, hi, how are you? I've heard so much about you. His eyes was big as quarters.
Come on, Inglewood.
Yeah.
How you doing?
How are you? Nice to meet you. Yes, I'm Erica. Yes. And then I was like, all right, don't call me no more.
Please.
And then when they called with the, I'm sorry. And I said, oh, you don't have to do that.
Right. We're good.
We're good. You got me. It's cool. You won't get me twice. It's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how you move on
and
move toward greatness. What was for you? Because that's the thing about dating, right? Especially as a woman who's of faith and in the church, like you always feel this need to keep a facade or some type of thing up that it's like, I'm this, the good girl syndrome.
Yeah.
I'm this perfect. I don't do certain things.
Yes.
But then there's also like, you know, you're a young woman. You're curious about what you need. Like, how do you know how to date and do that without dating?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know who you'll like if you don't date?
Yeah, you have to date.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm always like, how do you, as a leader in this community, say to young women who want to date and want to live life and, you know, look back at their 20s and be like, girl, you know, I might have been dumb, but I'm smart now. Like, what do you say to those women who just want to realistically give love a chance in this day and age, which is tough?
Yeah. I say build real friendships and relationships and go out. Eat. Everybody got to eat. Like, it's not date. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But know what it is in your mind. Don't build the fairy tale. You know, don't say we're just friends, but you have them on a vision board with a house and rings and cars and kids. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't trick yourself. But by all means, make friends, right? And then be curious about them and what they want, what they need, you know? And then you learn from there. And of course, a whole lot of prayer, a good circle of people around you that can kind of speak life into you and kind of walk with you through it.
Right.
Now, where those people are is everything. So if everybody you walking with is bitter and broken, you might not get great advice. Right. They don't all have to be married in order for you to have that positive circle of influence around you, but it's a good idea.
Right.
You know what I mean? To have someone that can help you understand, because dating and marriage is two different things, and preparing yourself for it is two different things. I talk a lot about it in the book.
In the book, More Than Pretty, which is in stores right now. So good.
Because I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot of what I needed because of childhood stuff. And, you know, you grow up and you see couples who are married but not happy. And I go, oh, which part of this do I want or don't I want? And so you start building your idea of love and relationship based on what you've seen. Yes. Well, unfortunately for y'all's generation, y'all see TV, y'all see music, so you don't know what's real.
Right.
I want this, but this was a fairy tale, so maybe I don't want this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you see somebody who's married in real life, and you go through stuff, and some of us like me are open about it, and they go, well, I don't want that either. And so you have to figure out, do I want the fairy tale, or do I want God's design? Do I want real life? You know what I mean? And that doesn't always have to include infidelity. Sometimes it's money issues. Sometimes it's just the way you express yourself. It's I know some beautiful people in relationship, and their issue is communication.
Yes, communication is the number one thing I think that separates men and women, especially when they're in close relationships.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times we don't know how to speak to each other, and we've told young men their whole lives, don't cry, don't speak about it.
Right,
it's
you
fine.
a man,
you a man up, and then we're all like, well, let me write you this whole letter. When you looked at me this way, I felt like, and it's like, and they're like, okay,
what? I don't.
That's what's up.
Let's eat. You going to the movies or what?
Well, what? And you're like, why won't you speak to me? And so I think that's another thing that we have to work on as people, like just speaking how you feel.
Feeling safe is a big thing. Though.
Yes.
I don't want to speak to you if I don't feel safe with you. I don't want to speak to you if this is going to be a meme.
Yes.
Or a tweet or a post.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Keeping things in-house is very important, because social media, when you bring social media in, you allow everybody in.
Right.
And that's not necessary.
And if you're not ready for that, don't do it.
Right.
Like, I don't believe that social media or TV can curse a relationship. If the relationship isn't strong, once other people are involved, it will illuminate what is there and what isn't there. So it's like training for a game, right? And I'm a sports player and I train, and I can tell myself I'm good by myself training with just me and my trainer.
Yes.
But when I get in the game,
what am I going to do?
So if your relationship is just y'all and in the dark, y'all talking together and no one's involved, that's not real life. But by the time you get out to the real world and people say things, you don't know each other well enough to know that's a lie.
Yes.
That's not true. I know your character. I've spent enough time with you. If you only pose for the gram, if you only go on good dates, if you only go on vacation and y'all never have real life, y'all never get into an argument. And I'm not talking about a fight. I'm not talking about, I know he loved me because we fuss all the time. No.
No,
like
I mean,
a
disagreement.
Yes. On business, on life, on how you handle who you are and what you are.
Yes.
If y'all never know how to come over those bumps,
it's not going to be real.
Yeah, it's not going to be real. Because you're gonna be like, every time you hit something where you disagree, you'll go, oh, this means we're not supposed to be together because something's not pleasant. It ain't always pleasant.
Right.
And gentlemen.
Right. And so, I mean, my mom and dad have been married for, I want to say, well, I'm 29, so 30 years now. And, I've seen their relationship go through everything, but they've always chosen each other. Yeah. And so for me, I'm always like, okay, so if we're going to be in this, I have to know who you are.
Yes.
And your standard for yourself has to be more important to you than it is to us.
Yes.
Because if you turn away and then come back to me, you have to understand that, like, at the end of the day, you pleasing me is not going to be the thing that makes you happy. You have to learn what makes you happy on the inside out. So now my whole vision of dating is different. Because I'm like, at first I used to be like, well, what we about to do? Like, you got a plan. Like, now I'm like, okay, well, if you're not a planner, you must be good at something else.
Right.
But who are you to yourself?
Absolutely. That's so important.
Yes.
Who are you to yourself?
Who do you want to be?
Can you look yourself in the mirror and say, I like the person that I am?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Do you sleep well at night when you make certain choices? If you have to end a relationship or a friendship, how do you process that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Depending on what you went through as a child. Like, my husband grew up with a great, great family. You know what I mean? Very honest. And sometimes they were even more honest than my family was. So sometimes we would come to an impasse where he would want to talk about something. And I'd be like, oh, it's fine. And I just want to go over it. And he'd be like, no, let's talk about it. That was a big thing for us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But it was based on what he saw.
And and growing up. In different, like, certain households don't talk about certain things. Like, I'm still at the place. My mom, she'll talk to me now about, like, sex and different things because she wants grandkids. Yeah. But I'm like, when I was growing up, wasn't no sex. Sex. What's that? What are you doing?
Right.
And I wanted to talk to you because I know you're so open with, the intersectionality of faith and sex and how that works. Yes. And you're raising two beautiful daughters, which they are gorgeous and adorable. So what do you say to them about, as they're growing up, about just learning their own bodies and all the things that are going to come?
Yeah, I want them to be comfortable with who they are now. So we talk about body image, like, even, okay, I don't know if this is too far, but like when I was growing up, if somebody got boobs and my eyes would go, ooh, girl, you know what I mean? Or, little booty poking out, you were like, ooh, girl. So you learn to feel comfortable. You weren't made ashamed of your bodies. And so I don't want my daughters to be ashamed of their bodies. You know what I mean? As they, when you go from little girl to big girl and, you have curves, sometimes, which was my story when I was 16, someone thinks that you're sexual or thinks there's certain things going on. And so when you teach them to own who they are, no one else can kind of have to show them, tell them, you know what I mean? And then I got a big community of women around me where we talk about healthy stuff, healthy relationships, and how to operate, how to feel comfortable, how to share your feelings and not let your feelings be based on what they feel. You know what I mean?
That's good.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't really like you, but nobody else is liking me, so I'll pick you. Yes. Right? And then you get down to it. I know people who have done that, and they just wanted to be in a relationship, and the guy proposed and he wasn't it. Wow. And they waited till after the ring to go, I'm not bored anymore. I think I'm over this. That's mean.
Dang. And I'm not going to hold you. I've done that because it's so hard for me to date. Like, and I don't even know if it's...
Why though?
I don't know, Erica. I would like to change it. I'm here asking. Look, I'm asking everybody. Yes. No, but I think it's because people assume things about me that aren't necessarily true, right? I think people think that, like, I succumb to good girl syndrome a lot. Like, that whole, you grow up, I'm the oldest too, so, like, you grow up and people are looking at you. People are like, my parents told me when my brother and sister came home, like, hey, you might be 2, but these people are going to do whatever you do. Yeah. So, like, no pressure, but
that was my life.
Literally.
Great. Yeah.
Like,
your sisters are watching. Yeah.
And so I'm like, I can't make mistakes. And so I had to learn, like, in my early 20s, like, it's okay to be a person who isn't like perfection isn't real.
Right.
And so I think a lot of men might think that like I'm this person that like has to be perfect. I'm like, first of all, I'm breaking out of that perfectionism.
Yes.
So give me some time. But you know, it's just one of those things where I feel like that's why I was going to ask you, what prayers should I be praying to prepare myself for that type of relationship that I want? Like I want to be married, have some families. You know, I want that love, and I grew up with that, and so I really want to continue that in my own life. So what prayers do you think I should be praying to make space for a real good relationship?
On part 2 of Give You the Game with Erica Campbell, we continue our incredible conversation on love, faith, and all things girl talk. Coming next Wednesday, so make sure you guys are staying tuned by following Gia Peppers and Erica Campbell, and use the hashtag GYTG for any quotes, anything you want to share on social. Girl, share the love, share the blessings, and we'll see you guys next time on Give You the Game.